Toy Story 4 isn't just an emotional movie about toys, it's also packed with hidden secrets that a lot of people didn't even notice. Knowing that, did you really see everything, or did some details fly right in front of your eyes just like Buzz Lightyear?
To infinity and beyond!
For example, right at the beginning of Toy Story 4, when Bonnie goes to school on her orientation day, the camera quickly sweeps across the classroom, and that's where a brilliant detail appears. Among the kids, there's a little girl dressed exactly like Boo from Monsters, Inc., wearing the same shirt. A very curious detail. Coincidence? Not when it comes to Disney Pixar. This Easter egg actually reinforces the theory that all of the studio's movies might be connected within the same universe. Later on in the movie, during the emotional reunion between Woody and Bo Peep, Pixar drops another reference you definitely don't want to miss. If you look closely, you can see that Bo Peep's remote-controlled car runs on B&L brand batteries, and that name is far from random. B&L is the acronym of the mega-corporation from Wall-E, responsible for polluting Earth so badly that humans were forced to abandon the planet. In other words, Toy Story and Wall-E could very well take place in the same reality, just separated by a few centuries. Still in the reunion scene between Woody and Bo Peep, the sheep are up to their usual antics in the background. While searching for supplies, they find a grape soda bottle cap and hand it to Bo Peep as if it were a priceless treasure. And guess what? That cap is identical to the famous badge worn by Russell in Up. The most genius part is that the scene doesn't draw any attention to it at all. If you're not really paying attention, it goes by unnoticed. So, had you already noticed all of these details and Easter eggs when you watched Toy Story 4 for the first time? And these are just the beginning. There's way more where these came from. Get ready because this video is going to blow your mind. Still within the first few minutes of Toy Story 4, you can see Bonnie playing with a colorful inflatable ring. So far, nothing special. But if you look a little closer, the color combination is very familiar. The ring has the exact bright orange with white stripes, the same colors as Nemo from Finding Nemo. Now, one place that's absolutely packed with Easter eggs is the famous antique store, and that's no accident. That's exactly where most of the references to older Pixar movies appear, all strategically scattered throughout the set. In the scene where the toys escape from the creepy ventriloquist dolls, if you pay close attention to the background, you can spot an old box with the word Pixar written on it. Still in this action-packed sequence, when Bo Peep delivers that spy movie-worthy sweep kick on Gabby Gabby, the moment happens fast. But the set hides yet another Easter egg. If you look in the background, you can see a decorative plate with a very specific symbol. That symbol represents King Fergus from the movie Brave. It's the same emblem associated with his clan, featuring that unmistakable Scottish medieval look that defined the film. And it's not just indoor locations where Pixar hides references. In one of the outdoor scenes, when the camera shows a panoramic view of the park, you can see that the environment is filled with small details everywhere. If you observe closely, you can spot a wooden cart that looks very similar to the one Carl owned when he was still a young balloon salesman in Up. Within that same scene, as the camera glides through the park and the surrounding streets, you can find yet another reference. If you look closely at the street in front of the antique store, you'll notice a parked truck that looks very familiar. It's the same truck that appears in the short Toy Story of Terror. Pixar reused the vehicle as a quick wink to fans who follow not only the main films, but also the Toy Story specials. And of course, Pixar wouldn't leave the Dinoco gas station out of this list. In the movie, the gas station appears as a mandatory stop for the characters to refuel their cars. But longtime fans already know this place well. It's the exact same station where Buzz and Woody get lost in the very first Toy Story. The most interesting detail is the logo. If you compare Dinoco's appearances throughout the franchise, you'll notice it changes slightly in each one. Nothing too flashy, but just enough to give the feeling that the company has evolved over time. One of Pixar's most famous Easter eggs is the Pizza Planet truck. In Toy Story 4, it does show up, but in a totally unexpected way. The appearance is so quick that most people don't even realize where to look. Instead of driving through the scene, the Pizza Planet truck appears in a very unlikely place, on the leg tattoo of a park employee. That's right. If you pause the scene at just the right moment, you can clearly see the little truck tattooed on the character's leg. When Woody and the other toys are exploring the antique store, if you look carefully at the background, you can spot a sign showing the year the place opened, 1986. At first glance, it seems like just a set detail. But the coincidence, in quotes, is way too good to ignore. 1986 is exactly the year Pixar was founded. Did you know that? And to make things even more interesting, there's another curious detail in that same store. Besides the founding year, if you look closely, the store number is 1200. That number is the exact address of Pixar's headquarters, located on Park Avenue in Emeryville, California. In other words, the antique store carries not only references to other films, but also a direct tribute to the studio's real-world location. Here's a little tip for you. Click the subscribe button down below. That way, it'll be much harder for you to miss any of our upcoming videos. Still talking about the antique store, another detail that flashes by very quickly but deserves attention is a yellow airplane hanging near the store window. It appears almost like part of the decoration, but the design gives it away. The model strongly resembles the Sunwing, the famous plane from the movie Planes. Later on in the movie, Pixar decides to mess with us again. When Buzz ends up trapped at that ring toss booth in the park, the scene is already packed with details on its own. But among the prizes, another hidden reference appears. If you look closely at the hanging toys, you can spot a very familiar guitar. That instrument is the same one used by Miguel in Coco. Going back to the beginning of the movie, Toy Story 4 opens with a flashback from 9 years earlier, and while the scene takes place in the bedroom, there's an easy-to-miss detail if you're not paying attention. Hanging on the wall, there's a calendar illustrated with characters from A Bug's Life, the 1998 classic. Still during that same flashback moment, if you look closely at the desk in the room, you can subtly spot a lamp that looks very familiar. It's practically identical to the famous Luxo Jr., the lamp that became Pixar's biggest symbol. And of course, a legend like this couldn't be left out. In Toy Story 4, no one is forgotten, including the most famous animation of all time. Still on the bedroom wall, you can spot a Mickey Mouse clock, appearing in a simple and discreet way, but carrying a huge weight of history. This is more than a well-deserved tribute. After all, Mickey isn't just a character, he represents the beginning of everything for modern animation and for Disney itself, which now walks side by side with Pixar. And Bonnie's classroom doesn't get left out of this Easter egg hunt either. During the scene where the kids are playing, the camera quickly passes through the room and, for the most attentive eyes, reveals a very special detail: a lunchbox featuring the Battlesaurus characters, which Woody uses to hide. These characters appear in the holiday special Toy Story That Time Forgot, released in 2014. In the animation, Woody, Buzz, and the other toys encounter a group of warrior dinosaurs led by the imposing Reptilis Maximus, creatures who have absolutely no idea they're just toys. When Woody is being carried by the ventriloquist dolls, if you pay attention, you can briefly spot a spoon in the scene. But this isn't just any spoon, it's the exact same one that appears in Ratatouille from 2007. And while Woody runs through the antique store, it's clear that the Easter eggs never take a break. If you look closely, you'll notice a red umbrella next to a blue one. It seems like just part of the scenery, right? But this bears a direct reference to Pixar's short film, The Blue Umbrella from 2005. In the short, the blue and red umbrellas stand out as characters who fall in love in the middle of a rainy city. And here in the store, they appear subtly, almost like a wink to those who know the story. And it's not just the store where Pixar hides surprises. The ring toss booth is also a true Easter egg treasure. If you look closely at the toys hanging as prizes, you can spot a very familiar little frog. It's identical to the one that appears at the end of Toy Story 3, stuck to the garbage truck. A frog that seemed like a background detail in Toy Story 3 gets new life as a prize at the ring toss booth, reinforcing that sense of a continuous universe for the most attentive fans. While exploring the antique store in Toy Story 4, our eyes couldn't help but notice an Easter egg-worthy detail. On the ceiling, there's a chandelier identical to the one seen in Incredibles 2 from 2018. Another hidden secret can be found in the scene where Bonnie enters the antique store with her mom. Almost unnoticed, there was Carl's cane from Up, 2009. And very close to Carl's cane, our detective eyes found two more objects that would make any Pixar fan smile: the classic A Bug's Life cookie box and the diving mask that appears in Finding Nemo. And to wrap up our list, anyone who has seen Monsters, Inc. couldn't miss several nods to the movie in Toy Story 4. Once again in the antique store, we find nothing less than a Monsters University flag, identical to the one that appears in the 2013 film. Pixar really loves leaving clues that only the most attentive fans can hunt down. We're wrapping up this video, but if you love having your mind blown, this is the place to be. That's why we picked two great videos for you to click, watch, and, best of all, keep hanging out with us.